I want to talk about negative comments online when you start creating content because I know some of you might be interested in doing it. And just yesterday, I responded because this was a DM of someone who I already had an open DM conversation with who called me a gimp, which I don't even know what that means. And then he said massive virgin. And like always, and this is the biggest advice that I have to give for any young person maybe that hasn't created content for long, because for me it's been the most valuable thing I've learned over the years. I like some days you're not having a great day like anybody else. We have our ups and downs, and you receive like kind of a nasty message, not a nice message, and it impacts you because you're human, you know what I mean? And I think footballers go through this, anybody that just like is willing to put themselves out there, I guess. But what's unbelievable is every single time, and I haven't responded many times to be fair, because I see it's a waste of time because it's the same thing that happens every time, is you end up responding and you're like, what do you mean by that? And then they explain, and in their explanation you can tell they're like starting to kind of go like this. They're kind of embarrassed about the comment that they put out. And then every single time, I'm telling you guys, every single time I've received, and I only respond on Instagram because Instagram is the only place where you can DM back. And like I said, I very rarely do this. I've maybe only done it 10 times over the years, but it happened yesterday, so that's why I wanted to share their story. Almost every single time they apologize right away and they're like, I'm sorry I took it out on you. There was no reason for me to say this to you. And then almost every single time they end up saying like, I'm going through a difficult moment in my life, and I'm in a bad place. And that's what I always see. And this is why, if there's advice I can give to anybody that is starting to create content or doing something and facing criticism, it doesn't even have to be like public content. It could be even like, let's say you're in high school or you're in school, any level of school, and people are judging you or mocking you or whatever it may be. Trust me, there's a very, very good chance that person either is not going to make it far in life because of their mentality, or they're going through a difficult thing in their life, and I guess that's their way. I personally can't understand that. I guess that's their way of expressing it. But like I told you, every time I've decided to have a little bit of a conversation, it's come around, and not only did they quickly apologize without me asking, but they also start to open up a little bit, saying that they're going through difficult moments and stuff like that. So that's why, on other platforms like TikTok and YouTube, like you can't directly respond to the people in the same way. You know what I mean? It's not like a DM where you're having this like back and forth conversation. So it's a bit harder because it just feels one way. Like the people say keyboard warriors. It's truly, a lot of the time, it's like there isn't a face to it. And but like I said, from having just those few conversations, for me at least, I remember, when I first started, it was really difficult because you're not used to it. You know what I mean? But I think over time you realize why, what it's all about. And I do think especially footballers have to have really thick skin with those things, especially, something for me that's disappointed me so much about, I guess, Liverpool fans, or maybe just online Liverpool fans, is like the amount of abuse. You know how Salah said basically that he's been made to be a scapegoat when he was benched 3 times in a row by Slot? For me, if there's one scapegoat this season from this Liverpool team, it is absolutely Cody Gakpo, which I think has just gone way too far. The amount of people, especially considering he helped us win the Premier League last season, and I absolutely agree he hasn't been good enough this season, and he was better last season. But some of the stuff I see online, guys, for me, is just so unacceptable. And like he's definitely one that has to have a thick skin, because the amount of messages you see. I was even looking at his LinkedIn yesterday, and almost all the comments. So it's like a professional platform, you could say, LinkedIn. All the comments are like just negative stuff. Like, you don't pass the ball enough, stop cutting inside, all these things. And I'm just like, I don't understand how that will help him. Like, trust me, everybody behind the scenes is trying to help him to improve. He knows he could be doing better. But I just don't see how negative comments like that help in any way. You know what I mean? And this also, like I said, goes back to, I think if you're a footballer, you have to have that thick skin from the moment you basically start, because it's going to happen throughout your career. Like, look, even Mohamed Salah is going through it. And that's why I was a bit surprised when he came out, and he was complaining about like the way the media is portraying him and stuff, because like he's more experienced than anyone, so he should know there's those kind of like down moments in football, especially if you look at messages. And the reality is, people very much see messages. Even look, Slot. I don't know if you guys watched, but Liverpool just put out a video. It's Richard Hughes and Slot that were speaking in that specific moment, and Slot was saying how he sees the reaction from the fans and how they haven't been happy with the style of football and how that really hurts him. And again, it's like even the manager of Liverpool Football Club, yes, you try to kind of tune out the noise, especially in difficult moments, and you have like a good entourage, but you're gonna see the messages. You just are. Like, that's just human nature. You know what I mean? And almost every single player in this day and age has social media. So they're all gonna face it. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's just something that I noticed, and I think it really is the best advice that you can receive, I think, around this that happens phenomenon just in the world, is if you have a direct conversation with people that send messages like that, you see what's going on through their mind, and it's people that need help, and there's a lot of people that need help. And I think, for me, from all the platforms that I've seen, for example, TikTok is by far the worst in terms of bad messages that I get. And I'm 100% convinced, and that's why I don't even look anymore, honestly. Only sometimes, and I only respond to nice messages too, because they'd actually deserve to be responded to. But for example, on TikTok, one of the reasons why I think it's the worst is because it's a platform that doesn't make you feel good, I don't think, in some ways, because it's so addictive. And maybe other platforms have become as much, but I think originally it was the most addictive because of how good they are with our algorithms to keep you hooked. So therefore, I think probably when someone lands on your video and they're scrolling, they're probably in already such a bad headspace, because it's not healthy to be on your phone that long. So I always try to imagine the psychological space someone is in on the other side. And I imagine they're like scrolling and they're so frustrated in their own life that they're not being more, productive with their time, for example. And when they land on your video, they're like, oh, and they just like lash out, I guess, that's what I imagine, but that's why I really think you cannot take it personally, and I will say sometimes I do take it personally, and I'm like, what's the need for this when it feels personal? But at the same time, I always remind myself, like that conversation I had yesterday, very quickly there was an apology. It just shows like people need help out there, and if anything, they probably, when you see messages like that, you got to feel for people, because a lot of people do need help, like I said, Wait, I just want to try to show you guys this tree real quick because it's so beautiful. But yeah, anyways, that's just a video. This is just a video, especially for, people who might want to start creating content, because sometimes I get asked about that. That's one of the, I think, the big hurdles that you kind of have to overcome. But I think this explanation, or what I've learned from, like I said, having direct conversations, for me has changed everything, because it makes me not take it personal in the same way. You know what I mean? But anyways, guys, I want to finish off this video with this beautiful tree trunk that to me almost looks like it's actually unbelievable. It makes me think of some kind of creature. Like, look at this. Can you guys see? Look at the trunk. Look at the trunk, first of all. It's like it has a bunch of legs, and then look, there's an eye, and it looks like there's a mouth. Look at this. I mean, someone colored in, right? It's a little bit of color, but it looks so creature-like when I see this tree. I'm just like amazed by it. And it looks like some people might have given it a name. I don't know. K2MI. I'm not sure what that means. But yeah, anyways, as you can see with the weather here today, it's much more like the usual Lille weather, where it's very, like right now it's just drizzling a little bit and it's completely gray. So yeah, this is more of a usual Lille weather, so I'm used to it. But it is cold as well. As you can see, I have to be in this big coat, and my hands are freezing right now. But anyways, I'm so hyped about the Free Flow channel being back, and as always, thank you guys for your support. I'm going to respond to the messages on the first video today. And yeah, as always, thank you for taking the time and supporting the channels. So big up, everybody. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful week. You'll never walk alone, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, guys.